There is a puzzle that I found online called Guerilla, where it is very similar to these crack the code puzzles, but it uses black and white points to tell you how many numbers are correct and how many numbers are in the correct position, but it will not tell you what those numbers are. There are only four things you really need to know. One is that each of the puzzles will tell you if it uses numbers 1 through 6 or the numbers 1 through 9. Another thing about the puzzle is you have the black and white points to help you as hints. The black points tell you it is the correct number, and it is also in the correct position. The white tells you the number of digits that are correct, but none of these will tell you what those numbers exactly are. But there is another thing that you need to remember, that some numbers can repeat. I'm going to start with this line. You can start anywhere. Any path might be your starting point, but for me it's the 0, 0, which means there are no 5s and no 3s in the puzzle. If I look at the next step using that logic, I see there's two sets of 3s here, and there's a 1 and 6. And this point system tells us that only two digits are correct, which could be the 1 and 6 because there are no 3s. And if I continue looking, I can see that there is the 1 right here and two other numbers that I don't know, but there's only one white point, which means only one of the ones is counting. That means there are no 5s and no 2s. So I can eliminate the 2. And in the sixth line, I see that there are 2s and 4s, but they're only counting 1 point, which means the 4 is correct. And it also tells me that it is in the correct position, so I can just write a 4 up here. The second line tells me that one of these numbers is correct, which is the 4. We know the 4 is the white point, but we don't know which is the correct one. If we look in the fourth line, we see a 4 and a 6 here, but they are two black points, which means the 4 and the 6 must belong in their correct positions. And since all we're left with is the 1, it has to go in the first digit. So if we double check it, 3, 6, 4, 1, the 1 is the white point, the 4 is the white point, this is the white point, that is correct. The 4 is the white point, this would be the black point, that is correct. The 1 would be the black point, this would be the white point, that is correct. The 4 is in the correct spot, the 6 in the correct spot, so there are two black points, that's correct. 0, 0, the single black point, yes, that's correct. And a white point, yes, that is correct. So we know the answer is 1464. Alright, the second puzzle. We have no 0s here, but we do have 3 points right here. So I'll start with the third line. No matter which digit we cross out, we always are going to end up with a 5. Because 3 numbers are correct. Because if you cross out the 5, you still have a 5. And you cross out the other 5, you still have a 5. If you cross out the 6, the 3 numbers you work with will still have a 5. You cross out the 4, the 3 numbers you work with will still have a 5. Therefore, a 5 must belong. And if I go to the first line, I see that there are 2 5s here and 2 3s, but only one of them is counting. That means there is only one 5 in the puzzle, so I'll just make a mental note of that. And I could also eliminate the 3 as well, because there are no 3s. If I go back to the third line, remember that only one 5 has to exist in the puzzle, which means that the other 2 digits has to be a 6 and a 4. So we know 3 of the digits so far. If I go to the other lines that contains a 6, like this one, we know only 1 point is counted, which means the 6 is the only number that's in this puzzle. So there's only one 6, no 3s. Go up, there is one 4, and since it's the only white point, it tells us there's no 2s either in the puzzle. And since we just eliminated the 2, the line 5 tells us that there is at least one 1 in the answer. So we know these are the 4 digits. Alright, so I'm writing down all of the numbers on the side to see where they go. And starting from the top, we know the 5s are in the wrong positions, so we could cross them out. And at the bottom, the 6 is in the possible correct position, so we could cross out the 6s on the sides. And the 5th line tells us the 4 is not in the last position because it is a white point, which means the 1 has to belong in the 4th digit. Alright, so if I go to line 2, I see the white point has to belong to the 1, which means the black point has to belong to the 4, so the 4 belongs in the 1st position. And if you look over here, the 5 has to belong in the 2nd position. There is no other way, which means the 6 belongs in the 3rd position. This is the white point. This is the black point. This is the white point. The 5 is the black point. The 6 is the black point. The 4 is the white point. The 5 is a white point. The 1 is a black point. The 1 is another black point. The 4 is a white point. The 6 is the only black point. You can see that everything is correct. Oh yeah, so we have our answer. If you'd like to solve the other hard ones, you can try it on your own. I'll solve them in the next video. Alright, take care.